stop throwing away your herbs. No, 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 no. No more throwing out your wilted dry herbs. I know if you're like me, you get to the grocery store, you get excited about those fresh herbs, buy them, and then a couple of days later, they end up looking like this. Oh, they're so hard to keep fresh and good. Don't throw them away. They can enjoy a second life, and I'm going to show you how. What I have with me is some dried up old cilantro. I have some green tail onions that actually look pretty good. I have some parsley that's in decent shape. And then I've got some basil that's pretty wilty. I'm going to show you what we can do with these, and you'll never throw away your dried up wilty herbs again. So if your herbs are already dry and crispy, I'm going to separate the dry crunchy tops from the stems. Sometimes they're dry enough where you can just break them up by hand. Crunch them up, separate out any stems or anything that's not crumbling, and they're ready to go in your spice jar. So already dried up, you can go right into the spice jar, ready for your next guacamole. Now, what about the pieces that aren't dry? Well, cut off the ends or anything that is slimy, because you don't want that to go. And the rest of these are going to go onto a tray for dehydrating. Cut the brown stem off, put the leaves on the tray. Now, if you don't have a dehydrator, you could use your oven on keep warm to create a dry, warm environment, and that should dry things out, maybe overnight. So you can see what I did there. I took a couple of containers of really bad looking herbs. So instead of throwing everything away in a couple of bad containers, I picked out the stuff that was viable still, either crunchy, crispy, dry, or wilted. And I pulled out all of the slimy stuff. So I'm gonna compost the slimy stuff, but all of this is gonna go into the dehydrator to dry out crisp so I can do more herbs and spices. Okay, into the dehydrator it goes. And then I will check back about a few hours to see how things are going, but they might not be ready until tomorrow. A good temperature for herbs in the dehydrator is 95 degrees, and that helps preserve their nutrients. All right, so everything's out of the dehydrator now. We've got a pile of cilantro. The basil came out a little bit darker, the parsley and the green onions, and now everything's ready to just chop up and put in jars. So first with the basil, very dry. Probably don't even really need to use the pestle to break it up. Just going to keep the stringy stems out. But everything else, pretty much fair game to go into the jar. Okay, time for a little bit more cilantro. Pulling out the stems. You can definitely grind it down more if you need smaller pieces. Okay. Cilantro. Now parsley. As far as the green tails, I'm going to mix them in with my onion salt seasoning. So for these guys, I'm just going to do a little bit of a rough chop. All right, so the next time you get some soggy herbs, instead of throwing them out, replenish your spice rack instead. Take a few extra minutes out of your day, dry them out completely, crumble them, and refill your spice jars.